Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're watching News 2. I'm April Knight. Topping our stories tonight, elected officials, administrators from the Department of Education, students, faculty, and parents were introduced to the temporary structures that will be utilized for a projected 4 years. In grand style, the Arthur A. Richards Junior High School celebrated being back on their home campus and found that their new classrooms came with some perks. Stephanie Brown has more.
The excitement was great this morning. It was at high levels, and I'm just excited for the students and the faculty as well to be home.
Over 250 students and 30 faculty members at the Arthur A. Richards Junior High School celebrate being back on their home campus in a procession led by the Central High School Marching Band. In 2017, Hurricane Maria's gust winds of 137 miles per hour took large pieces of the school's roof and caused massive infrastructural damage. Chanel Henry Cuencas has been teaching at the junior high school for over 5 years and recalled the first time she saw her classroom after the storm.
I was devastated. A couple of days after the storm, when I heard that the storm had destroyed our facility, I came down, and my classroom, unfortunately, was one of the classrooms that was totally destroyed.
In the past year and a half, the junior high school has been housed at the educational complex, running on a double session schedule. And later, the school both operated and shared a campus with other students and teachers at the John H. Woodson Junior High School.
At first, we were relieved to be at Complex, being back in school. At least the students could receive some instruction. But at the beginning of this school year, after being promised that our facility would be open and ready for the new school year, but then having to be, housed at Woodson, it was almost a defeating feeling, to say the least.
Out of the 250 modular classrooms commissioned for the territory schools, Arthur Richards operates out of 49 modular units, along with 3 sprung structures. Ms. Cuencas stated that the modular units are world-class and boast amenities that were not available in many of the other classrooms at the damaged structure.
Well, although I loved my classroom previously, we have a state-of-the-art classroom right now. We have whiteboards in every classroom. We have Promethean boards in every classroom. All teachers will have their own laptop. So, of course, you have the ability to bring technology into the learning environment, which in today's world is pivotal in the learning process.
Senator Gittin stated that there's a lot of work to be done, and the 33rd legislature has not assessed the Department of Education as yet. But as Senate President, he will be inquiring about the total cost of repairs for Arthur Richards, as well as other public schools in the territory. For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
Each of those modulars cost $500,000. The new St. Thomas St. John District Committee held its first meeting on Wednesday, and that's the election board committees, where they discussed the upcoming special election on the reapportionment plan. News 2's James Gardner was there and breaks down what that's all about.
With a special election approaching for voters to decide on a reapportionment plan, St. Thomas St. John District Election Committee members said more public education is needed on its potential impact on the territory. This was the first meeting of the new district committees. The committees for the St. Thomas St. John District and for the St. Croix District are extensions of the Unified Elections Board, tackling issues relevant to each district. According to the committee members, the committees were formed during a joint board meeting early this month and functions for the most part like the former district boards. With no decisions on the table, members worked on logistics for the upcoming election, including setting training dates for poll workers, judges, and monitors. Elections board member Lydia Hendricks expressed concerns over the lack of public education on the reappointment plan.
We have an election coming up. People will meet me in the street and ask me what it is. And in all honesty, I can't explain to them what it is.
Because that's what I started out the meeting saying. A lot of persons have been asking what it's all about.
And if there's one person who needs to know, it's people on the board. So I was also thinking that I was going to call Raymond to find out if when we are there to the workshop, if somebody could come and explain the pro and they can, because I don't want to hear why I should. I also want to hear why I shouldn't.
Supporters for the petition see the new arrangement imitating the U.S. setup, whereby at-large senators would operate like U.S. Congress senators representing the entire territory, and district senators operating more like those elected to the U.S. House of Representatives.
Again, it's the accountability. When you got 7 people in one district, I mean, first of all, people need to understand, this is a Constitution mandate, you know. Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution mandates that every state and territory must have a Republican form of government. And that is what they gave us with the Revised Organic Act in 1954. And then when our legislature in the 60s asked to have a reapportionment then because the population had doubled and they were granted the authority to do that, they're the ones that created the dysfunction of 14 to 1 because we had a 7-4 from 1954. It was 7 district senators with 4 at large. It is the check and balance and the accountability, and I'm not talking about the senators being by commissioners. If you're the senator for St. Croix West and there's a problem in St. Croix West, the point is you have the authority of oversight to call in the relative department, division, or whatever, and say to them, you have this budget to do this work. Why isn't it done? That is the oversight that we work and talk about on C-SPAN and all kind of things as we see in the Congress, but we don't demand it of our representatives.
The proposal will create 5 legislative districts, with 9 district senators and 6 at-large senators. District of St. Croix East with 2 senators, District of St. Croix West with 2 senators, District of St. Thomas East with 2 senators, District of St. Thomas West with 2 senators, and the District of St. John with 1 senator. For News 2, this is James Gardner.
The last day to register to vote in the referendum is coming up. That's February 28th. And Election Supervisor Carolyn Fox said that so far, the number of residents coming into the offices is low. St. Croix has already held a registration drive and has another planned for this weekend's Ag Fair, but St. Thomas still has to plan that. Coming up next, Delegate Stacey Plaskett's impassioned plea for Congress to protect disaster funding for the Virgin Islands. Plus, a look at VIPD police reports when we come back. Welcome back. Time for our Pet of the Week. This week, it's a beautiful cat named Smidget. She's been at the Humane Society for a while, and she's looking for her forever home. Here's Donna Nemeth, Director of Operations at Humane Society on St. Thomas, to tell us all about Smidget.
This is Smidget. We've had Smidget since she was a tiny, tiny little smidge of a kitten, and she went out to a foster home, and once they discovered that their son had allergies, she had to come back to us. But she is a super social, super beautiful girl that would be great with any kind of other animals or people. She's super, super friendly, super cuddly, and beautiful gray color. Can't beat it. If you missed our Catterday Saturday special last weekend, we were doing free cat adoptions, and we had drinks for everyone from 10 to 1. If you are still interested in a kitten or Smidget grabs your eye, we'll hope you'll come out again this weekend and get a free adoption.
Remember, if you or anyone you know is interested in Smidget or any of the pets that we feature on Pet of the Week, you can call the Humane Society at 775-0599, or you can visit www.hsstt.com. You can also get a voucher from the shelter so you can take your dog or cat to a vet of your choice and have them spayed or neutered. They always need fosters and travelers over there to take their rescue animals on flights to the mainland. And of course, if you can adopt, that would help them a lot as they deal with animal overpopulation population on the island. Now, don't forget, Saturday and Sunday, February 16th and 17th and 18th is the much-awaited St. Croix Ag Fair. VIA will be there with a dedicated tent. News 2, of course, will be there also. We will be providing coverage on our Facebook page as well as on News 2 on Monday with the highlights. We'll be speaking with Agriculture Commissioner nominee Positive T.A. Nelson on the Ag Fair, as well as farmers on their biggest challenges. We will also have various TV2 personalities available to answer questions both on Saturday and Sunday, including Richard Schrader, Lavon Bell, and Summer Sibley Brown. We hope to see you there. Now let's take a look at what the weather looks like in the next few days with our News 2 AccuWeather forecast.
Good evening. Happy Friday. As we head into the rest of this weekend, we will be talking about this front continuing to press its way to our area. We're on the tail end of it, so not anticipating a whole bunch of heavy precipitation, but a bit more frequent shower activity today. That's moving across Hispaniola and then eventually moving into Puerto Rico, and then I'll find some of that moisture into our area for your extended forecast. Now, ahead of this, waves have been high, winds a bit more on the gusty side out of the southeast. We'll continue to see that into tonight, and trades are a bit disrupted. We'll see those change back to a normal pace here once again into your extended forecast after this front passes. Now, for tonight, across the Virgin Islands, a shower can be expected, dropping down to 75 for your low. Tomorrow, 84 in St. John, partly sunny skies with a shower or two. Also be looking at a shower into St. Thomas throughout your Saturday, and 86 in St. Croix with some possible shower activity. Now, we are pretty dry here. It's that time of the year, so any showers that we get, it's a good thing at this point. Now, into the Atlantic marine forecast, small craft advisory is in place until 8 p.m. tonight. Waves for tomorrow going to be 4 to 6 feet. Winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 knots. So we'll see our conditions a bit less aggressive for your Saturday as well as into your Sunday. Then Monday, they'll be picking back up here as our trades pick back up. Caribbean side, well, we have a small craft use caution. Waves 3 to 5 feet for your Saturday, and winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 knots. Once again, we'll continue to see those ease on down for Saturday and into your Sunday. The marine conditions, we'll be looking at some stray showers here on Sunday. Behind that front, a bit more drier air for the end of the weekend. Then into Monday, Tuesday, we return to our trade pattern. More clouds as well as a chance for showers.
Thank you for that. Coming up next, Randall's comments and News 2 Sports with Gary Anthony. Stick around. Welcome back. The House of Representatives recently voted to pass a compromise bill on border security, averting a second government shutdown. The White House also said that President Trump has signed the bill, but also will declare a national emergency to strengthen border security and fund the wall along the southern border. The compromise bill already has some $1.37 billion to fund a barrier that's roughly 55 miles long. But now there are concerns that under the national emergency, the president will take money from the military to fund a longer wall that he estimated would cost $5.7 billion. One major concern for territories as President Trump continues to push for a border wall is the possibility that he might divert disaster relief funding meant for disaster-stricken areas like Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. On Wednesday, Delegate to Congress Stacey Plaskett took to the House floor in an impassioned plea for Congress not to let that happen to disaster areas that are barely just getting back on their feet.
The hurricanes left not one, but 2 hospitals overwhelmed with debris and destroyed. Our only 2 hospitals. And now, worksheets still have not been approved by FEMA for the rebuilding of those hospitals. The modular hospital is still not in place. Students have only recently, in this month, moved into the modular classrooms. Can you imagine? School reconstruction has not begun. Our communities still have a long way to go to get in the disaster recovery and rebuilding progress. Mr. Speaker, nowhere else in this country would this be allowed. This would not be allowed in any colleagues of your homes. However, before and after the storm, Virgin Islanders put their heads down and did the work. They pitched in and helped one another because that's all we had at that time, and the benevolence of other people, until you, Congress, until you, colleagues, gave them the disaster funding that was needed to rebuild. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, unlike other places, the Virgin Islands doesn't have 5 or 6 members of the House or millions of constituents living in your own districts. The Virgin Islands didn't have thousands of people on the news media or chefs or playwrights bringing musicals to our island to draw attention to the devastation in our home. The Virgin Islands have me, and I pray they have you. They have you, Mr. Speaker. They have you, colleagues, to continue the fight for them, for these Americans, to tell the White House that they should not shift disaster funding to build a wall away from Americans living in territories for something that a foreign country was to pay for in the beginning. I yield back.
On Friday, President Trump did declare a national emergency in a bid to unlock some $8 billion in border wall funding. On Tuesday, February 12th, around 1 in the afternoon, a representative of the Department of Human Services reported the rape of a minor, the third one that we know of from police reports this month. The Human Services rep told officers at the Bassanio David Command about the rape of a 17-year-old female by a 29-year-old adult male. No further details were provided by the VIPD. The case is under investigation by the Criminal Investigation Bureau, and police are asking anyone with information on this to call 774-2211 or Crime Stoppers USVI at 1-800-222-TIPS. You can also call 911. On Tuesday, an attempted traffic stop ended up in a high-speed car chase. On February 12th at around 1 p.m., police officers were in the area of Alton Adams Drive when they saw a heavily tinted vehicle driving really fast in the vicinity of the Charlotte Amalie High School. The driver was later identified as Darren Hodge. Officers tried to conduct a traffic stop, but the driver refused to stop, according to police. The driver was alerted with blue lights and a siren, but he kept on going. It even overtook several cars, driving erratically and traveling east on Rappoon Hill. The car finally stopped when other police cars formed a roadblock near the top of Rappoon Hill. Now, Hodge was then given several orders by the police to exit his vehicle, but he still refused, so they arrested him. Hodge, 33 years old, was placed under arrest and charged with reckless endangerment, aggravated assault and battery, and several other traffic violations. Bail was set at $50,000 and he was remanded to the BOC pending his advice of rights hearing. On Tuesday on St. John, the body of a man was pulled out of waters off of Cruz Bay near the customs dock. Callers to 911 reported it around 7 in the morning. Officers and support units responded to the scene, according to police, and discovered the body of a black male floating in the water. Police later identified the man as Dion Stephen, 43 years old. Until a medical examiner's report is released, VIPD's Glenn Drake said there's no reason to suspect foul play at this point. The Daily News reported that Stephen was convicted of the murder of Eloy Garcia Villar in 1997. We'll keep you updated on the story, and as usual, if you have any information, you can call 911, Crime Stoppers USVI at 1-800-222-TIPS, or you can call the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Coming up next, your Pet of the Week and News 2 AccuWeather forecast.
You're watching News 2. This is Alex Randall with News and Comment. The governor said it was a distressful situation. The financial team called it an economic crisis. The numbers are just insane. Our structural deficit, $415 million, $861 million in general obligation debt, $800 million in debt covered by matching funds. And how much does the government owe to the vendors? A lot. There is no way out of this hole and no way to borrow more. The financial team says we've got $36 million cash on hand. That's 16 days worth of money at the rate we spend money. And the court made a decision that we can't charge excise tax. That's $40 million the government's not getting this year. And just to make matters a little bit worse, President Trump's tax cuts mean our IRB is going to collect less money because a bunch of folks got tax cuts. So if you're expecting your tax refund, $128 million owed to the people, don't hold your breath. But you could tell your human relations people at your job that you'd like to have less money withheld, and then you wouldn't have to wait for a refund. Oh, our murder rate is making news. We are number 3 with 49 homicides per 100,000 people. Baltimore's got 58 per 100,000. St. Louis 66, then us, number 3 in the country. And our rate's actually up a little bit. Back in 2000, it was 21 deaths per 100,000. It peaked at 52 murders per 100,000 in 2010. Now we're down to a mere 49 per 100,000. How do we get so much violent crime? Is it all gang violence? And if so, why do we have so many gangs? Or is it all drug crime? Consider this for a moment. Imagine that you want to buy some drugs. Since it's illegal, you have to do it down a dark alley without a store or a countertop or a cash register, no security guards, no security door, no safe, no vault. And since it's down a dark alley, you figure you better bring your gun, just in case. And you better bring a friend, just in case. And your friend better bring his gun, just in case. But the guys you're buying the drugs from have the same thoughts. Better bring a gun. Better bring a friend. The friend should bring a gun. Every one of them is thinking, if I just take out the other guys, I go home with the money and the drugs. This is a perfect formula for someone to get shot, or 2 or 3, 4 people with guns in a dark alley with a pile of money and a pile of drugs. Imagine if we had a legal place where drug dealers could do their business in the light of day. We could cut the drug violence. But it's illegal, and everybody carries guns, and so a bunch of folks get shot. The Senate, the legislators, held their inauguration and their party. The good news is it cost less than the last legislature spent on their party. 32nd legislature spent $12,000 less than the last inaugural party in 2016. So see, $12,000. They're being austere. Sad news for St. Croix. You don't get as much money as St. Thomas. They spent $92,000 on their party on St. Thomas, only $12,000 on St. Croix. And poor St. John, a mere $8,700 for their party. But don't feel bad, St. John. Water Island got no inaugural party, not even a sandwich and a soda. They spent $41,000 on food, and they spent $81,000 on other stuff that was not food. $21,000 for printing, $22,000 in airfares and hotels, $30,000 on decorations. Now, stop and think of this. Our population's about 107,000 people, and the party cost $122,000. That works out to $1.14 per person. So I ask you, did you get your $1.14 worth? I don't know about the rest of you, but I didn't get my dollar's worth. I didn't get my 14 cents worth. And that's my 2 cents worth, which is about how much I'd be willing to spend on a Senate inaugural party. Alex Randall, News and Comment. Now back to you, April.
Thank you for that, Alexander Randall. Everyone, interesting as always. Now, time for News 2 Sports. Gary, what do you got?
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. Play ball. Well, almost. Spring training 2019 has begun in Major League Baseball, and like they say, hope springs eternal, because almost every team believes they have a shot at getting to the postseason. And while mitts are popping and bats are cracking, the 2 biggest free agents this offseason, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, have yet to sign on with any team. This is the second straight offseason where the big money free agents have gone into spring training teamless. Some call it collusion by Major League Baseball owners, and some say the asking price for Machado and Harper, up near $300 million for 10 years, is way too high. Either way, The usual big spenders, the Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, and Dodgers, appear to be sitting this one out. However, the Philadelphia Phillies are still exploring the possibility of signing either slugger, according to general manager Matt Klentak.
We are going to continue to explore that market because there's still several really good free agents out there. Markets develop for different reasons and at different rates every year. There's really nobody that can explain why certain players sign early, certain players sign late, or certain players don't sign at all.
From the diamond to the hardwood, the Central High School Varsity Invitational has begun at St. Croix's Educational Complex. In Thursday's action, the boys division, Free Will Baptist School took down Good Hope Country Day School 46-28. Ivana Idurikeen outlasted the Educational Complex in overtime 62-59. And on the girls' side, Central High School over the Educational Complex 48-17. The hoops action continues all weekend at the Tim Duncan Gymnasium with the championship games on Sunday night beginning at 6 p.m. That's it for sports. Have a great holiday weekend, and I'll see you all at the Ag Fair this weekend. April, back to you.
Thank you for that, Gary. And that's it for our show tonight. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at News2VI or Instagram at TV2USVI. We want to hear from you, so tag us on any stories you want to see on the news or send us a message on Messenger. You can also email us at newsdirector@tv2.vi. Thanks again for joining us on News 2. I'm April Knight. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful weekend.